So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street, Selsey, or call 606 552.
Hello and a warm welcome to Manhood Internet Radio. I'm Tony Weiner, your host for the show. Another week gone by and another interesting programme for you. So what appetising treats do we have? Well, we start the show as usual with Alison's roundup of things to do in the area, and that will be followed by answers to the last quiz, which I must say I found a bit tricky. Our local astronomer Astro John tells us what to look out for in the November sky, and we have kept Keith indoors this week so we can try out another of his recipes. Our quizmaster Kevin's up to his usual tricks with another brain teaser. So let's get going, and it's over to Alison for a roundup of what's on in the area.
Hello there and welcome once again to our weekly look at what's on round and about Selsey and the rest of the Manhood Peninsula. On Thursday the 20th of October, it's time once again for Link. That's Ladies in Contact. They meet at 7:15 in the evening at St Peter's Church Hall. And this month it's entitled Birthday Celebrations Evening. So we'll have to see what that involves. New members are always welcome. So that's Thursday the 20th for Link. And then Friday the 21st, in the afternoon, it's time for Darby and Joan. They meet also at St Peter's Church Hall. And in the afternoon, it's also Selsey U3A. That's held at the Selsey Centre as usual. In the evening, it's a whist drive at the Selsey Club. That's at 7:30 in the evening down on Cox's Road. On Saturday, the 22nd of October, the Methodist Church will be holding their tabletop sale. That'll be running from 9:30 until 1. If you'd like to book a table, you need to ring 601-439. So tables for the Methodist Church, 601-439. And don't forget that as usual on a Saturday morning, the Venture Bus has their boutique, that's open as usual, and also the Scouts have their charity shop. Also on Saturday, East Beach Church will be having their craft fair. That's running from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Also on Saturday at the Cat and Rabbit Rescue Centre, it's time for the Cat and Kitten Rehoming Day. That's down at Calder Lane, Siddlesham, from 12 noon until 2 in the afternoon. And in the evening, the Selsey Royal British Legion Club will be having their usual live entertainment. New members are always welcome down there. And tonight on Saturday, the Monkey Waiters down at the Legion. On Sunday the 23rd, we're having a Discover Medmurray Brackets West guided walk. This is going to be a 4-mile walk, combining birds and wildlife together with Medmurray's history and its creation into the reserve that we see today. That will start at 10 in the morning and it'll take about 3.5 hours. The cost for this walk is £7 each or £4 if you're an RSPB member. Now, booking is essential for this walk, so you need to phone 641-508. That's 641-508. And you also need to be careful about where to meet. This time, the meeting point is at Ernley Car Park. I do have the postcode for that for those people with sat-navs. That's PO20 7JL. And you need to meet at 10 to 10 in the morning. Don't forget that's Ernley Car Park. Later in the weekend, the Respite Tea will be taking place at the Methodist Church on the High Street. That's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And later on in the evening, it's time for the quiz night at the British Legion. That's also in the High Street. On the 25th of October, which is the Tuesday, something else at Pagham, Wild Families, Wild and Wonderful. This is a special family-orientated half-term activity tailored according to the weather. Time for a drop-in between 10:30 and 1:30. It's £3 per child, or if they're a Wildlife Explorer member, that will go down to £2. Also on Tuesday, the Chelsea Carers will be meeting at 109 High Street. That will begin at 10:30 in the morning. And the Deaf and Blind UK charity will be having their meeting in the afternoon between 2 and 4. That's at Hanover Close Lounge. So those are all the activities in Chelsea this week. Let's have a look at what the weather holds in store. Pretty steady week, beginning on Wednesday the 19th with a high of 57 Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius, with sunny intervals and a 14 miles per hour north-northwesterly wind. Now that temperature will hold steady through Thursday and Friday. Thursday will bring light cloud with a 12 mile an hour northerly wind. Friday we should expect some sunny intervals, an 11 mile an hour wind, which will be a northeasterly. On Saturday the 22nd, the weather will drop a little, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius, with light clouds and a 13 mile per hour easterly wind. On Sunday, same sort of temperatures, 55 and 13, light cloud again, 13 mile an hour wind, but this time moving round slightly to an east-southeasterly. Monday the 24th, slightly higher, 57 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius, again light cloud, slight drop in the wind down to 12 miles an hour, again an east-southeasterly. Now Tuesday the 25th, very exciting news here because we suddenly have a temperature rise. It should go up to 63 degrees Fahrenheit or 17 degrees Celsius with light cloud, 12 mile an hour wind, which will be an east-southeasterly. So those people thinking of going out in the garden or perhaps going for a walk, looks like Tuesday the 25th is the day to do it. Now have a look at the tides. Wednesday the 19th, the high is at 10 to 1 and low tide 10:30. Tuesday the 25th, low tide 10 to 11 and a high tide 25 to 6. So that obviously will change throughout the week. Now let's move across to have a look at Bracklesham and the Witterings, see what's happening there next week. Wednesday the 19th, time for table tennis drop-in and play for adults at Bracklesham Barn between 10 and 12. Also in the morning, CBT motorcycle training at the barn between 9 and 11. There's going to be a coffee morning down at Russell's Garden Centre between 10 and 11:30, and that will be in aid of the hospice. Back at the barn, Gyrokensis with Jen, that will be between 10 and 12. And then later on, belly dancing with Step Inside between 1 and 2. Slightly less energetic perhaps, short mat bowls at the barn, 2 until 4. And then it livens up again in the evening with Zumba with Louise between 6:30 and 7:30. There's line dancing at the Legion between 7 and 9 and happy hour at the pond 5 till 8. Then Thursday the 20th, it's time for the mobile soft play session for the under 5s, followed by Stitch and Yarn at the Witterings Medical Centre between 10:30 and 12:30. Knit and Natter, as usual, East Wittering Library, 10 to 12:30, and it's Wittering's Master Art Group between 10 and 12 at the West Wittering Memorial Hall. East Wittering will be having their Keep Fit exercise class. That's at the Village Hall between 2 and 3. Down at West Wittering, it'll be short mat bowls. 3 sessions there, 10 till 12, 2 till 4, and a slightly longer one in the evening, 7 until 9:30. They take place at the West Wittering Memorial Hall. If you're interested in that, you need to call Maggie. Her number is 673-231. That's Maggie on 673-231. For the younger members of the village, Junior Youth Club for the 8 to 12-year-olds will be held at the Youth Centre between 5 and 6:30, followed by the seniors, 12 to 17 years, at the Youth Centre, 6:30 till 8:30. And it is karaoke once again at Pond Barn between 7 and 11. On Friday the 21st of October, it will be the South Coast Networking 11s meeting. So no guesses there for what they get up to between 11 o'clock and 12:30 in the afternoon, and that will be held at the Harbour Way Country Club. The Witterings Quilters Quilting Bee will take place at St Peter's Church Hall between 10:30 and 4:30. If you fancy trying quilting, then you do need to speak to Judith. That's Judith Rogers, and her number is 511 431. That's Judith Rogers, 511 431. For the younger members of the village, there's Baby, Sing and Sign. I presume they do have to go along with their mums or their grandmas or their carers. You can take them to Bracklesham Barn between 9:45 and 11:45 in the morning on the 21st. Later in the afternoon, it will be time for short mat bowls between 2 and 4. And then later still, it'll be jukebox night at the Pond Barn between 7 and midnight. On Saturday, we've got the Harbour Boys at Bracklesham Barn, 7:30 in the evening. Tickets are £5 and they're available from the Parish Council offices or from BizCards. So that's the Harbour Boys meeting at Bracklesham Barn. They're a folk band. On Sunday the 23rd, as usual in the morning, it's Windrush Church meeting. They meet at the barn between 10:30 and 12:45. And then later in the evening, the usual Pond Barn quiz night at 8 o'clock. On Monday the 24th, we have Little Ducklings Mother and Toddler Group at the barn between 9:30 and 11:30. Running alongside that, short mat bowls between 10:30 and 1. Later in the evening, it's time for yoga with Elaine. She does that between 7 and 8:30. And slightly more energetic than the yoga, how about trying ARO Ladies Beginner Kickboxing? Verity's going to be doing that down at the barn between 7:30 and 8:30 in the evening on Monday. And then as usual on Tuesday, it'll be time for the Little Explorers Play and Learn Together at the barn between 9:30 and 11. There's also meet and greet at West Wittering Memorial Hall. They offer coffee, games, homemade soup and a roll. They meet from 10:15 until 1. Back to the yoga with Elaine. That'll be at Bracklesham Barn between 10 and 11. And in the afternoon, it's a Tai Chi session at Bracklesham Barn at 4 o'clock. In the evening, the Community Pop Choir will be having their rehearsal at West Wittering Memorial Hall. That'll be between 7 and 9. And for the more energetic down at the barn, it'll be time for Badminton Club between 7:30 and 9:30 in the evening. And it's also free pool down at the Pond Barn on Tuesday. So that's about it for the week. Plenty to be getting on with. And don't forget that good weather forecast for the 25th. Hope you enjoy it. Bye for now.
Thank you, Alison. Enough there to keep us busy, I think. Now over to Keith for answers to the last brain teaser.
And without further ado, we have the answers to last week's quiz. Now, Kevin asked us, what was the name of the lead character in Pirates of the Caribbean? Number 2, Dex's Midnight Runner's biggest hit. What was the name of that? Number 3, finish the phrase, they think it is now. Number 4, who played Pepper Anderson in Policewoman? And number 5, in 1986, Christy Burr had a number 1 hit. And what was the name of that? And the answers are, number 1 was Jack Sparrow, number 2 was Come On Eileen, number 3 It's All Over, number 4 Angie Dickinson, and number 5 Lady in Red. And their connection? They're all Rolling Stones singles, Jumping Jack Flash, Come On Eileen, It's All Over Now, Angie and Little Red Rooster. There we go, that's the answers to last week's quiz.
Thank you, Keith. Now, October was a great month for heavenly events, and we go over to our astronomy expert John to find out what's in store for us in November.
Hello, this is John Mallet with what to look for in the night sky in the month of November. Firstly, if you look high in the west, about 60 degrees up from the horizon, you'll see a cross of stars. This is Cygnus, the swan. This constellation is really good pointer to find the Milky Way. If you look in the opposite direction, towards the east, up at about 30 degrees, you'll see a very bright star, which is Aldebaran. And then about the same distance up again, you'll see the Seven Sisters. This is in the constellation of Taurus, the bull. Then continuing up, you'll come to two bright stars. One is Algol and the other one is Murphak. Algol also has some secrets that have given it the name Winking Demon Star, because it appears to dip in brightness about 10 hours every 2 days and 20 hours. It's one of the best known eclipsing binary systems and the first such star to be discovered. Algol's actually a 3-star system in which the large and bright primary star is regularly eclipsed by the dimmer beta star. In a 2012 paper, it claimed that the ancient Egyptians made detailed observations of the variability of Algol over 3,200 years ago, and in a papyrus document called the Cairo Calendar, there's indications of its variability. The variability of Algol was first recorded in 1667, but the periodic nature of its brightness was not really recognised until more than a century later by British amateur astronomer John Goodricke. In 1881, the Harvard astronomer Edward Charles Pickering presented evidence that Algol was actually an eclipsing binary. With the clocks going back to GMT, now is a very good time to get your telescope out and start looking for some of the deeper sky objects that you can see in those darker evenings. So that's it for this month. Let's hope we get some clear nights and dark skies.
Thank you, John. Now the chef Jamie Oliver got into trouble with the Spanish for his paella recipe, but Al Keith is not afraid of controversy. No way, Jose. So let's go over to his kitchen to get his version of the famous recipe.
Hi, and welcome to the kitchen once again. Well, with the weather turning a little bit fresher now, I think it's time to perhaps dispense with the salads for a little while and go on to some hot dishes. So I've got one or two rather tasty hot dishes that you wouldn't perhaps normally have. The first one is paella with pork and chorizo. Now, if you like paella, I'm not a great lover of seafood. A bit daft me living where I live, but there you go. But paella with pork and chorizo sounds rather nice. Now this will serve 4 to 6 people, and what we need is 1.25 litres of simmering fish stock, 12 large raw prawns in their shells, there's plenty of those about round here, half a teaspoonful of saffron threads, 2 tablespoonsful of hot water, 100 grams of skinless, boneless chicken breasts cut into 1 centimetre pieces, 100 grams of pork tenderloin cut into 1 centimetre pieces, salt and pepper, 3 tablespoons full of olive oil, 100 grams of Spanish chorizo sausage, and don't forget to take the casing off that because it can be a bit tough otherwise, and cut that into 1 centimetre pieces, slices, 1 large red onion chopped, 2 garlic cloves crushed, half a teaspoonful of cayenne pepper, a half a teaspoonful of paprika, 1 red pepper deseeded and sliced, 1 green pepper deseeded and sliced, 12 cherry tomatoes halved, 375 grams of paella rice, 1 tablespoonful of chopped fresh parsley, and 2 tablespoonsful of chopped fresh tarragon. And this is what we do. Add the prawns to the simmering stock and cook those for 2 minutes, then transfer them to a bowl and set them to one side. Put the saffron threads and water in a small bowl and infuse for a few minutes. And season the chicken and pork with salt and pepper. Heat the oil in a paella pan and cook the chicken, pork and chorizo over a medium heat, stirring until it's golden. Add the onion and cook, stirring until softened. Add the garlic, cayenne pepper, paprika and saffron and its soaking liquid and cook that, stirring constantly for a further minute, and then add the peppers and tomatoes and cook that for a further 2 minutes, stirring that all the time. Add the rice and herbs and cook, stirring constantly for 1 minute. Pour in most of the hot stock and bring to the boil, then simmer uncovered for 10 minutes. Now don't stir it during the cooking, but shake the pan once or twice when adding the ingredients so that it gets all nice and mixed up. Season it, then cook for a further 10 minutes or until the rice is almost cooked, adding a little more hot stock if necessary, and add the prawns and cook for a further 2 minutes. And when all the liquid has been absorbed and you detect a faint sort of toasty aroma coming from the rice, remove it from the heat, cover with foil and stand for 5 minutes and then serve. That's simple enough, isn't it? Lovely tasty dish, and it make you think you're away on holiday somewhere. Paella with pork and chorizo.
Thank you, Keith. Let's see what our continental friends make of your recipe. Now a change of scene as we go over to Kevin for another way to keep us awake at night.
Right, hiya, it's Kevin here with this week's Connections quiz. What I've got for you is 5 general knowledge questions. So what are the answers to the 5 questions? We're looking for something specific that connects all the answers. Okay, so question number 1, going back in time for us older generation. Joyce Grenfell, she used to have a comedy sketch with the schoolboys, and she said to who, "Don't do that." What little boy name? Question number 2, Sherlock Holmes, his companion was Dr. Watson. What was Dr. Watson's first name? Question number 3, which outlandish comedian once spurred a Sun headline, "Blank blank ate my hamster"? Who was he? Who is he? Question number 4, which Northern Ireland and Man United striker sadly died of liver failure in the year 2005? And question number 5, big clue for the connection, what type of creature is a ladybird?
Thank you, Kevin. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. So it just remains for me to thank all our contributors, including Local Life magazine, our sound editor, John Mallett, our presenters, John, Alison, Kevin and Keith. Not forgetting, of course, our producer, John Fletcher. So it's goodbye from me, Tony Wiener. Until next time, bye.